She saw top-tier neuroscientist trapped in a loveless arranged marriage for 3 years. Her husband blindly protects a scheming widow who stole her keepsake and her identity. Witnessing his betrayal at a funeral, she snaps out of her delusion. She files for divorce, refusing a fortune just to reclaim her research and dignity, facing online slander and lab sabotage. Watch how this awakened Ed Queen uses her professional pro-ESs to expose the lies and make them all pay.
Your father led is done. You've got your own duties now. I don't need to cling to this empty marriage.
You mean Felicity? Have some respect. She is my brother's widow. You have a mansion, an unlimited allowance. Don't threaten me with leaving. You can't survive a day without the Vargas Trust Fund.
He really thought I was a parasite. He didn't know I held 3 patents. He didn't know my shopping trips were meetings with pharmaceutical developers. Fine.
See? She's just jealous. She'll get over it.
As soon as the funeral ended, I went straight to my lawyer, Talia's office. She was my only friend and the best divorce attorney in the city. We go for half. The prenup has a cheating clause. The photos from the funeral, it's a slam dunk. No, I don't want his money. Clean break, immediate. Why? You spent 3 years as his nurse, his PR manager, his emotional punching bag? I pulled a medical envelope from my bag and slid it across the desk.
3 years of marriage? And he never touched you?
He told me on our wedding night. He was saving himself for Felicity.
That bastard! That's constructive abandonment! We can destroy him!
No. If this blows up, the Santos matriarch will step in. Then I'm just trading the Vargas cage for the Santos cage.
You're really walking away with nothing? The Santos family sold you into this marriage, and you're letting Vargas walk free?
I'm not letting him go. I'm leaving first. Then I will settle the score.
What about Elnar? Wasn't your brother the one who loved you most?
He signed the dowry papers and sent me there himself. From that day on, I had no brother.
Fine. I'll draft the decoy agreement. Mutual separation, no alimony, no assets. The worst deal in history.
It was the price of freedom. I went back to the estate, and all that minimalist art I'd carefully picked out was gone. My home had been invaded.
I hope you don't mind. This place was so cold. It needed some warm family energy.
Taste is subjective, but some things are objectively loud.
Just wanted to make it nice.
Eliane, Felicity is a guest. Be gracious.
A guest? Then why was she redecorating the host's home?
This is my house. Leo has been through enough.
I looked at the 3 of them. She wasn't here to stay. She was here to take my place.
Don't worry. She's just jealous. It looks great.
I turned and walked away. No argument. No fight. Not anymore. Dinner was a nightmare. Leo wasn't eating at all. He was drumming on a crystal goblet.
Let him express himself. He's a musical genius.
My eyes landed on the mantel. There sat my only photo of my parents. Black and white, a couple standing in front of a vineyard. The only thing I had smuggled out when I fled at 18.
Ugly! Old people are ugly!
Leo, Uncle Hayes said you can treat anything in this house like a toy. Put that down.
No! Uncle Hayes won't say no to me!
Leo, no!
Felicity blocked me. She just stood there and let Leo smash the picture frame and tear the photo to pieces.
Mommy, my hand, it's bleeding.
What a cheap frame! Hayes, get over here! Eliana hurt Leo!
I knelt down. I watched my parents' smiling faces being torn to shreds. I picked up the pieces one by one from the broken glass. Hayes stepped on my hand as he walked over to comfort the mother and son.
What happened to Leo?
It's all because of that cheap glass frame of hers.
No, Felicity, the photo's already in pieces and you just had to throw wine all over it?
It's just a photo. Stop being dramatic.
There was no negative. This was the only one.
I don't know, but you hurt Felicity and Leo. You apologized to them.
I looked at Hayes, the man I had tried to love for 3 years. They destroyed the last photo I had of my parents. I'm not the one who should apologize. I turned and walked upstairs. Blood was dripping from my hand. I called Talia. Send me the paper. Tomorrow. I want his signature on that divorce agreement. 3 years of patience. 3 years of pretending. No more. I walked into the study with my coffee, just like I always did. Hayes was going through some paperwork, looking pretty frustrated.
Are those foundation reports done yet?
Just missing your signature. The accountant said noon deadline, or we missed the filing window.
Leave it there.
I placed the thick stack in front of him. The top pages were boring financial spreadsheets, but I had tabbed the signature line here and here.
Done. You can go.
I flipped to the last tab. The divorce agreement was tucked inside the foundation reports, its title covered by an attachment, leaving only the signature line exposed. And here. Hayes picked up the pen. The tip touched the paper.
What's this?
Foundation reports.
Hayes, we're gonna be late for Leo's school meeting.
I'll check it later. I'll sign when I'm back.
It's already noon. If you miss it again, we'll get penalized.
So annoying. Next time, sooner.
This is the final time. I heard that Mr. Sterling was coming. The executor of the family trust, the board's eyes and ears. A man who terrified Hayes more than his own father did. I needed to set the trap before he arrived. I hung the wedding gift from the matriarch next to Felicity and Hayes's photos. It was Friedrich's painting, Wanderer above the Sea of Fag. A lone figure stood on top of the clouds, and a bottomless abyss was right beneath his feet.
What is that dreary thing? It's so gray. It was painted in 1818. It's a national cultural treasure. Priceless, really. But if it ever hit the market, it could easily break $100 million. $100 million? You're joking, right?
Leo ran in holding a juice box. I knew he was about to ruin something of mine again.
Leo, be careful. That is very expensive.
So what if he looks at it? This whole house is going to be his someday anyway. It belonged to the Santos family, really. If anything happened to it, Hayes would be in a lot of trouble. Go look. If you don't like it, give it some color. Leo grinned. He squeezed the juice box with both hands. A jet of purple liquid sprayed across the delicate rice paper.
Oh, no!
It looks better now. It has color.
See? He's an artist. The heavy oak doors opened. Mr. Sterling stood there, two lawyers behind him. He looked at the ruined painting, his face turning to stone.
Mrs. Vargas, what has happened?
I tried to stop him, Mr. Sterling.
But Felicity said...
I deliberately left the sentence unfinished. Let Sterling draw his own conclusions. Hayes stormed in and saw Felicity crying, Leo pinned to a chair, and Sterling holding papers.
What's going on? My card was declined. You allowed an outsider to damage a Santos Trust asset. Under the trust terms, all your discretionary accounts are frozen until the board audit is complete. Over one painting? $100 million?
She let him do it! She hates Leo!
I warned him.
I've notified the board. Until the debt is repaid, all of Hayes' discretionary accounts are frozen.
Sterling's men carried out the painting. I watched Hayes' face crumble. A cold satisfaction flickered in my chest. I went back to my room and took the original from behind the false panel. What Leo destroyed was only the insured display copy. Elnar had already returned the real painting to me. My phone buzzed. A mandatory invitation to the Santos family's winter gala. The matriarch wanted to see me. The next day, I put the divorce papers into a beautiful envelope, disguised as an anniversary gift. When Hayes came downstairs, I handed it to him. A gift for you. Before he could open it, Felicity screamed from upstairs. He shoved the envelope into his pocket and rushed upstairs. I picked up my suitcase and walked out without looking back. On the drive back to the Santos estate, the matriarch's assistant called to warn me.
Bring Hayes to the winter gala, or the alliance would be broken.
But I didn't care at all. Goodbye, Hayes. The Santos estate was a frozen fortress. I walked into the great hall alone, and every relative stared at me.
Where is the Vargas boy?
He was detained by business, grandmother.
He's with his mistress. Everyone knows.
You have embarrassed us. The knee on the courtyard. 1 hour.
Grandmother, it's a blizzard!
Do you question me?
2 guards grabbed my arms. I knew it was useless to resist. I didn't even struggle. The guards shoved me into the snow. I knelt on the freezing stone, the wind cutting my face like a knife. 10 minutes. My legs went numb. 20 minutes. My teeth started chuttering. 30 minutes. I couldn't feel my feet anymore. Through blurred vision, I saw headlights.
Who made her kneel here?
I forced my eyes open. I saw a face I hadn't seen in 4 years. A sharp jawline, dark eyes burning with terrifying rage, a scar through his left eyebrow. Elnar Santos. The exile. The wolf.
You idiot!
The matriarch notified Hayes. When he arrived, the iron gates were twisted metal from the crash, and there was blood on the ground.
Where is my wife?
Kill the Vargas deal. Destroy the stock, burn it to the ground. I want Hayes Vargas begging on the street by morning.
The smell of oud. I opened my eyes. Elnar sat in the shadows, watching me.
You almost died. For that man?
Brother, I didn't do it for him. I did it for the endgame.
The game is over. You're not going back. I'll burn the Vargas estate to the ground with them inside.
No. If you burn it, I lose everything, my parents. My dignity, my name. I need to finish this my way.
You don't give me orders. I'm not your servant.
I'm not your kill. Let me go back. Let me destroy them from the inside. I want them broken, not just burned.
He searched my face for the trembling girl he once knew.
Fine. Go back to your little play. But remember, I won't save you a second time. If you crawl back, the price won't be just your loyalty. It will be your freedom.
Stood. The car is waiting, Mrs. Heath. I had to walk out on my own. And this time, I would never call back. I returned to the estate and walked into the closet. The wedding dress still hung there. I used to think if I looked beautiful enough, Hayes would finally see me. Now it was just a white ghost.
They beat you?
The Santos family didn't beat people.
You did that for me? Because I didn't show up? What about last night? Who were you with? Was it Elnar?
Hayes, you chose to stay with her. So don't ask me who I went to. Honey, are you okay?
Pink star cut. Hayes had spent 6 months finding them. Now they were dangling from her ear.
Hayes gave them to me to cheer me up.
Honey, I feel dizzy. Can you take me to the room?
Let's go.
I followed them, hid behind the master bedroom door, and pulled out my phone to record. Felicity and Hayes were kissing on my wedding bed. I was going to monetize this.
Do the final recognition.
3 years of patience, 3 years of pretending. Now, it was their turn to bleed. The video was out. The movers had already taken my research files. My phone blew up. Trending #1. Heir caught in incestuous tryst with brother's widow.
Stock down 8% in 10 minutes.
I was standing in the doorway, watching Hayes and Felimity's faces turn to ash.
It was you! You filmed it!
Eliana! What did you do? Do you know what this will do?
I know, Hayes.
I'm calling my lawyer.
I can delete it. $5 million.
My accounts are all frozen. Sterling locked everything.
You have the vintage Ferrari collection, Patek Marie watches in your safe.
Sell them, all of them!
Gone. The photo was gone.
Mr. Vargas! The matriarch! She saw the news. She collapsed. The ambulance is on the way.
Mother, get the car. We're going to the hospital.
I looked at the chaos I had orchestrated. Perfect. Hospital corridor. The Vargas family surrounded Hayes.
You fool! You've wiped $1 billion off the market, Pap, in an hour!
I'll fix it.
Uncle, I brought her favorite herbal tea for when she wakes up.
Eliana, you don't have to clean up his mess.
He's my husband. We face this together.
I walked into the room. Victoria lay in bed, but her eyes were open.
It was you. The news.
Hayes needed a wake-up call.
What do you want?
Hayes needed to be severed from Felicity. I could fix the PR, but I wanted the patent rights to the synthetic collagen formula and your voting proxel.
The formula is worth millions.
Hayes's reputation was worth 0. If I walked, the stock would crash.
Done. But you must make him leave her.
Okay. The formula was mine. The board was mine. I drafted a statement. Felicity Branch is merely a dependent of the family trust, and Hayes Vargas will relocate to a separate residence.
Do we have to do this?
Stock was down 12%. Your mother was in ICU.
You're not signing that! You promised William!
Did you think the public would sympathize with a home-wrecking widow? You'd be a social pariah.
If you stayed quiet, I would set you up in New Jersey. Trust Stippet stayed, but shopping stopped. New Jersey?
I'm sorry. Driver takes you in the morning.
You'll regret this!
Good choice. Phase 1 complete. He was isolated. Next, I was at JFK, readying for Munich. One last call before boarding.
Eliana? Where are you?
The divorce papers are in that file stack I left you. Go find them.
What?
Today's reminder. His 30th birthday. Cloud backup failed. The USB was in the Vargas safe. Without it, Project Nina was just useless code. I slipped through the service entrance. The USB was in my hand.
You! How dare you come back?
So he didn't kick you out. Makes sense. Someone had to bake his cake.
Weren't you getting a divorce? Then stay the hell away!
Felicity, you couldn't even hold a knife properly.
What is this? You're actually leaving me?
You finally found it. I ran out. Engine noise roared overhead.
Eliana!
The helicopter touched down on the grass. Elnar walked toward me through the rotor wash.
Your flight is canceled. I'm taking you to Munich. Eliana officially resumes the Heath nickname.
I boarded my brother's private jet.
Eliana!
I canceled my phone. I was going to disappear from Hayes' world completely.
The news was all about Hayes abandoning his wife for his sister-in-law.
Felicity's photo in Hayes' jacket was everywhere. She was smiling like she had won. A wave of nauseous hit me. Munich, 3 days. The Project Nina launch. Will you come?
No.
Good. This stage, I stood alone. Launch day. I walked on stage in a bespoke suit. Europe's finest scientists were in the audience. Wisnacht dreht sich nicht das Hellen. Lebensneu zu thunderous applause. I spoke fluent German with top scientists. Everyone wanted to meet me.
Finally, thank you to our sponsor.
Thank you, Mrs. Heath.
He said he wouldn't.
After the presentation, I was escorted to the VIP lounge. Elnar held a document.
I'd acquired all of Vargas's debt. I now controlled 51% of Project Nina.
Miss Heath, Bavarian Pharma offered $100 million for 49%, non-controlling stake.
Schmidt, I didn't know you had a death wish. Execute.
What? Stock down 15%? Tipped off the regulators.
One more minute in this room, it'll be 30%. Sign it.
Pleasure doing business. Why did you sell me? Married me to Hayes for $10 million.
I signed a transfer for your dowry! To give you your own money!
The matriarch showed me a letter. You wrote that you hated me.
I never wrote a letter.
She said you begged to leave. That you were in love with Hayes.
I didn't even know Hayes existed until the engagement party!
She played us both for 7 years.
7 years. I was sold to the wrong man. He thought I hated him, and she sat there smiling for 7 years.
I need space. I'm going back to my place.
Liana.
I didn't stop. The wind hit my face. I needed to breathe. Really breathe.
New York. Now, I'm gonna see the matriarch bring my sister back.
I was back at the Tribeca apartment. Talia was already there, wine open. To divorce. Asset transfer complete? You're officially off the Vargas radar. Donate the $5 million to a legal defense fund for abused women.
You just got $5 million and you're giving it away?
I was using it to clean my conscience.
Fine. But you need to know. Hayes hired Blackstone. Top-layer private investigators. He was tracking you.
Let him look. I'd gone back to my real name. Eliana Heath. The Vargas name was erased.
Good news. Dr. Sterling wanted to meet you. A new neural regeneration project. Completely separate from Nina. Yours from the ground up.
Dr. Sterling?
He read your papers. He said you were the most talented scientist he'd ever seen.
I had left Vargas. I had escaped Santos's grip. Now someone wanted to pay for my brain, not my marriage. The career of Eliana Heath had only just begun. Meanwhile, another net was tightening.
We found her. She's in New York.
He's heading to the Sterling Institute tomorrow.
She thinks she can just disappear. Get the car ready. I'm going to find her.
The next day, I arrived at the Sterling Institute. It didn't look like a lab. It looked like a fortress. Glass and steel.
Miss Heath, I'd read your paper 3 times. That section on neural pathway synthesis, genius.
You're too kind, Doctor.
It's not kindness. It's fact. I need you.
Thank you. It's just a concept.
Concepts change the world.
Your project, your rules. I'm building a neural regeneration division. You run it.
I accept.
There's a small celebration dinner tonight. Some key investors will be there. You must come.
I'm trying to keep a low profile, Doctor.
You're my lead scientist. This isn't social, it's work.
Fine. I'll be there. He said it was work, but I had a feeling that dinner was far from simple. Dr. Sterling's estate was like a castle. I brought my assistant, Julian. He was my new partner. Calm, professional, only talked science.
Eliana, come. I want you to meet our primary benefactor.
New project, new investor. Tonight, everything would fall into place. The crowd parted. He stood by the fireplace. Charcoal suit, whiskey glass, radiating control.
Elnar?
We've met. You signed a contract. Sterling works for me, which meant you worked for me now. She's family.
I have a home.
The institute you were standing in, the champagne you were holding, the salary you were drawing, it all came from my capital. You couldn't run from that. Night, I was going to show everyone who you really were. Welcome home, little sister.
A name from childhood. Now it felt like a chain around my neck. He wasn't there to celebrate me. He was there to claim me. Elnar's declaration hit me like ice water. The room went silent. My phone buzzed with a new message from my persistent ex-husband, Hayes.
New number. I'll still find you.
Wasn't he with Felicity now? One brother wanted to consume me. One ex-husband wanted to drag me back into the mud. I stood between them, colder than I had ever been.
Everyone, allow me to formally introduce my
Mr. Santos.
Doctor?
You were mistaken about one thing. Eliana's brilliance was her own. Her resilience was her own. She overcame trials that would break lesser people on her own. My institute did not tolerate insults to colleagues.
Least of all, to my most important lead scientist.
The doctor is right. She was the heart of our team. Anyone who wanted to touch her would have to go through us first.
Dr. Sterling stood in front of me, Julian at my side. 2 men built a wall around me.
Interesting. You'd found a new protector. Let's see how long this one lasted.
That's it for tonight. But this wasn't over.
He was wrong. I was learning to stand on my own. Late night, I was slumped on the sofa. Talia sat across from me.
He was marking territory tonight. Apex predator power play.
He wanted everyone to know. You were in his sphere.
I know. Hayes texted too. He said he could find me.
He was insane too. You were trapped between 2 wolves. Wait. Julian just sent a video. Someone spotted Elnar at a casino, and Hayes was sitting across from him.
He was setting a trap.
One more hand. What's left to bet? Money's gone. Property's gone. Wife's gone. I love her.
Felicity ruined everything.
You lose. What do you have left?
My life.
Every finger that touched her deserved to break.
Your ex-husband is begging to die. Want to collect the body?
I hung up. I knew he was forcing me to come. Don't go. Your brother wanted you to watch him destroy Hayes. But if he died, I couldn't answer to Victoria.
I didn't want to save Hayes, but I wouldn't let Elrin think he could still control me through other people.